What's going on, guys? So to start off the smartphone year, I'm going to be doing my first impressions on the OnePlus 13 device. I'm pretty excited about. If you aren't aware, this phone has actually been released in China for the past month and a half. Globally, it's released past couple days when you're seeing this video, but I really enjoyed my time with the OnePlus 12 last year, so let's go ahead and get this unboxed. But we also got to talk about the first sponsor this year, which is nobody. All right, so if you aren't familiar with this channel, we always got to give credit where credit is due, and this phone was made in China, of course. So let's just go ahead and get this unboxed. We gotta cut these seals, no problemo. Shockingly, I really don't know too much about this device. I just know that I get it in black. And I kind of want to go into smartphones blind a little bit this year, just so I can really see as a regular consumer if I can tell the difference between the previous generation. So in the box, we do get a safety guide and a quick guide. Make sure to read those if you care about that stuff. And adapters in the box as well, USB-A to USB-C. I'm gonna go ahead and move that. If you pull this tab here, you actually get access to your cable connector and the adapter. So this is part of the Red Cable Club. If you aren't familiar with OnePlus, that is what they brand their cables. So it's red, it's USB-A to USB-C. And the power adapter that comes in the box is 100 watts. I don't know if it's the same everywhere else in the world. Please check yourself, but labeled here, it is 100 watts max. That is some pretty fast charging. And then the phone itself. So let's just go ahead and get this unwrapped. Oh yeah, this is beautiful. This is better than the green from last year for sure. This flowery emerald is what they call it. Immaculate, exceptional. Okay, I don't have any more adjectives. The green was better. So this is the OnePlus 13 and it's a very clean design. I always got to give credit to the OnePlus designers. They know how to make a good looking back of a phone. Similar to last year, that green that had that bit of a marble finish, you can kind of see that here on this black. You see how, ooh, it's just so pristine. Feels very good in the hand, but we also got to do a smell test. So let's go ahead and smell the product. Doesn't smell like anything. So the color that they call this is Black Eclipse. They also offer Midnight Ocean and then Arctic Dawn. Personally, I think Arctic Dawn might be the best, but that's because you guys know I like my phones to be a little bit on the brighter side. But this black here with the marble pattern looks really good. Got the Hasselblad logo here, 3-camera array with the flash there. Let's go ahead and power this on. I'm sure you guys are already aware, in the Chinese version, you do get Color OS, but everywhere else you get Oxygen OS. Oxygen OS is supposed to be more geared towards being a more slim or refined Android, vanilla Android, I should say. But to be completely honest, for the average consumer, as long as you can make phone calls, download apps, you're going to be fine in your respective country. So OnePlus fashion, never settle. And the one thing I always want to give credit to OnePlus is that their displays look like eye candy. I love their displays. But yeah, let's go ahead and go through this entire process and get into the phone. All right, so I'm finally in the device, and the only real things I know about the OnePlus 13 is whatever was in the announcement video that they had in the press material, and a lot of it just seemed to focus on the software aspect of Oxygen 15 and not so much the device itself. So one of the things I want to point out real quick is this is the original notification quick setting area. If you were to go swipe down again, this is what it looks like, but you can actually go here and choose split. And if you were to go to split, if you go back to the quick settings, there's no quick settings up here anymore. This is just straight notifications. Go down one more time, or up here. You'll see that this looks more like, I don't want to use the word clutter, but there's just a lot more going on here. And I would say it kind of reminds me of iOS. Instead of swiping down, you actually swipe to the right and left for these bottom icons. Personally, I kind of prefer this because I don't like on iPhone how when you swipe down, you're like switching between media and you lose that on certain pages. I think this is actually a better implementation. Some people might say it's copying, but personally, I think it's more of a refined quick setting notification because I rather just look at my notifications and that's it. Will say though, if you don't want 2 gestures in order to get there, go back to the classic. Otherwise, split view, I would say, is the way to go. Haptics. That is another thing that I want to talk about. If you aren't familiar with haptics on OnePlus devices, they feel amazing. If you have the opportunity to go to a store and try it out, go to sounds and vibration under settings, scroll to the bottom, hit haptics, turn this to the max, make sure the touch is crisp. If you don't want it to be as, punchy, go back to gentle. I like mine to be crisp, and just play the video and your phone will be vibrating with such precision. While this is going on, let's go ahead and take a look around the device itself. So on the right hand side, we have our volume rocker and then our power button. And then on the left hand side, in OnePlus fashion, we have our slider. So you have the ring, or I think this is a silent, vibrate, and then ring. Ooh, look at that. We got a little dynamic island up there. I know that's not what it's called. I know Apple has that trademarked probably. But yeah, I do like how they have that up there. It gives you a better understanding of what it actually is. I'm probably gonna leave mine on the middle one. But regardless, just go back into the phone. Actually, let's go to the wallpaper, get our own wallpaper. Ooh, what the heck is this? What does that say? Fast? Oh, because the phone is fast. Cool. I do have a fingerprint on the phone, so all you have to do is tap on it. It is built in. Pretty quick in OnePlus fashion. I'd say probably one of the fastest in the game. Click that. Like, Jesus Christ, that's way too fast. It's so fast in reading my face as well. Like, if I were to just look at the screen, swipe up, I'm good. So in terms of facial recognition or face unlock and then fingerprint, biometrics, it's all, you're not settling by getting this device. Now, let's go ahead and do a bit of tests, and let's just test out the speaker as well as the display. All right, so the first thing I'm actually going to do is just test out what the refresh rate looks like just by swiping down. And I've got to say right off the rip, it is very good. Like, if this is 120 hertz, which I believe it is, let's just go to the settings real quick to confirm that information. 120, although it is set to high, so that's nice. So yeah, in terms of the swiping, like this is for sure 120. It looks very smooth, consistent. There's no jittering at all. The other thing that I'll mention is if you're a person who's probably just going to swipe on social media all day, yeah, this is going to be a pretty good phone for you. Ooh, this is so smooth. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead, test this in a proper environment, and collect this video. All right, so I do have a lot of lights here. So the highest setting I have is 4K 60 HDR, and we're also going to crank up the brightness to max and look at the video. I'll talk about sound in a second, but I just want to focus on the video for now. So I'm gonna continue to let this video play, and I'm just gonna talk about my first impressions of this display. That is so red, but you have to keep in mind, this is an OLED display. I think it's pretty hard to mess up OLED displays. With that being said, HDR and nit count is important. I don't think that really tells the whole story of how good a display is by just having a super high peak brightness. Simply because I think at this point in time, when it comes to smartphones, there's just this competition of saying, hey, we have this highest number. But is that 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 brightness actually sustained and usable for most people? No, it's more of just like, it hits it for a quick second and then it drops back down. But I've got to say, in terms of contrast, color, vibrancy, it looks amazing. I mean, once again, it's an OLED display, so your blacks are going to be perfect. And I'll also make sure to show you guys this in a darker setting because some people might watch content with the lights off. I have a lot of studio lights here, so it might be kind of throwing things off in terms of what it might look like. But from my perspective and what you guys might see, this is a beautiful display. Like, this is a good part right here because these are grapes. Let me play a little bit because let me get back a second. These are grapes, but the grapes are like a deep, deep purple, but the background is black, but you're able to see pretty much every individual grape. I mean, OLED is amazing. So let's go ahead and just test out the speakers by going to one of my YouTube videos. Who the heck is this? Found Hype Squad. Presenter and founder of Hype Squad, made for every platform and everyone. Okay, we're just gonna skip that. It's a day in the life of me using the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This video should have came out a while ago. Judging by the date, you can see it was recorded back in October 2nd, and there are some reasons why I haven't posted it, which I'll get into later in the video. But the battery is sitting at 100% and the time is 8:03. We have to do tradition and check the top comment of the day, and this is a interesting. So I do have the S24 Ultra here, and once again, I hate doing this in like unboxing a first impressions video, but I gotta get this out the way. S24 Ultra, one of my favorite devices that I used last year, S23 as well, the previous year. The speakers actually don't sound that good on the OnePlus, and you gotta remember that the OnePlus 13 is kind of going up against these flagship phones. For sure, the speakers are way more clear and crisp on the S24 Ultra. I'd say even the iPhones as well. I don't necessarily... What the heck is this? I don't necessarily think people are going to be blasting their phone on full volume. So let me go down to like 80%. Actually, when YouTube was going through its name bot in the comment section. So the first legitimate... Sounds much better when it's not at max volume, but you do have to keep in mind for some of the other smartphones that the flagship is going up against, like the S24 Ultra, even at max volume, there's like no distortion there. There is a bit of distortion on the OnePlus 13. God, this back feels good. Ooh, okay. Anyway, let's talk about the camera. So this is probably my biggest gripe about OnePlus in that who the heck is this? Get this Hasselblad watermark out of my face. The problem I have with OnePlus is you're not settling, okay? There's a lot of good things you get with this device, but for me, it seems like the camera department is what you are kind of settling for because I don't think the cameras are amazing. They're comparable, but they're not amazing. I still think those kind of go straight over to those flagship phones. So let's go ahead and let me just grab Link for a second and do some pictures. So it turns out Link is missing. I did some move, but I did find a bobblehead that Intel gifted to me, and then I have this dog by the company Sneak. So let's just go ahead, do some camera testing. Starting off with the ultra wide, honestly, I gotta say, it's better than I expected. I was expecting it to be a little bit more blurry, but for an ultra wide, even zooming in, you could still see, you know, the individual furs of that, you know, stuffed animal. And then even here, you can see the detail that Intel had for my goatee here. So honestly, pretty good for an ultra wide. Let's go ahead and start zooming in a bit. This is the 1x. Usually the 1x is one of the best lenses. I'd say for the color, it's a bit overexposure. I don't think it's that white. The camera's not picking it up. The camera's definitely dimming it down a bit. It probably looks really good on the overhead camera, but in person, it's definitely overblown a bit. But in terms of detail, like I'm zooming in here a lot and you can see a lot of detail has been, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but yeah, you can see the detail. Pretty good. Whoa, look at that eye too. I'm watching you. Anyway, yeah, nice detail through and through. You can even see the brown in my eye here. That's pretty good. Moving over to the 2x, this is a new lens that I was not looking for, but you know, it is there. You can even see a little bit of a speck dust there. Moving over to the 3x, I would say that this actually so far has the best color reproduction of what my eyes actually see in real life. And even going back to the 2x, you'll see that there's like a little bit of green on my face, which is definitely not natural. But the 3x, brown, very accurate. Even the blue on this little jumpsuit looks really like the one it looks like in real life. And the stuffed animal, I'd say this also looks like the color that it looks like in real life. Whereas this one, once again, just a bit overblown on the whites. This is the 6x? Yeah, this is the 6x. I'm not sure. I think I might just be too close. I'll probably have to do another shot of this during my day in the life. So I'd say take this with a grain of salt, but so far I would say the best lens so far is the 3x and the 1x. I would say this is pretty much in line with flagship territory in terms of the selfie camera. I'd say it's hitting the mark. I do think the flagships have better selfie cameras. Like there's a bit more detail in my face on those phones, but for a device that's $900 in the entire package that you get, I would be not settling at all. I would actually take my statement back of what I said earlier. in terms of the selfie camera, at least, that this selfie camera, I would say I would be completely happy with. Now, this is a portrait one, so there is a bit of a blur in the background effect, and I've got to say, better than I expected. Usually there's a bit of artifact, and you can kind of see it here on this left-hand side, but I mean, I'm really nitpicking. If I'm looking at the overall photo, I would be completely pleased with this. But as a reviewer, I know what I'm looking for. So overall, I would say for the portrait, front-facing camera also looks stellar. So this last photo is using the main camera. The reason why I say main is because it's the 1x lens on the back, and I think that's the camera that people use the most. But I would say this, I take back the statement I said earlier if I didn't edit it out. I actually don't think you're settling with the camera that you have in the OnePlus. Like, this is a really good device. And from what I take on the S series, the Pro series by iPhone, and the Pixel series, this is on par with like what you would get if you were to take a shot of a person using the camera. Like, this is really, really good. Like, look at all those dots on my face. Usually, I would say on like mid-range phones and lower end phones, this just kind of gets a bit blurred out. But as you can see, the detail is being, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, retained? I don't know. Yeah, even like you can even see, like, it doesn't look like my ear is chopped off. Ooh, what the heck? Do you guys see that? My ear is slightly missing. Wait, was there AI that's being done to this photo? Wait, what the heck? Do you guys see that? Like right here. It's almost like a black line, and then it just stops. Am I crazy? Hold on. There's definitely AI on this photo. The DJI mic looks fine. I'll probably make a follow-up video on that. Please let me know down in the comments below if you guys have the OnePlus 13 and you take any photos, because this is very strange. Like, my ear in real life is not cut off like that up there. That is strange. Regardless, outside of that, if you're not nitpicking like me, once again, I know what I'm looking for as a reviewer. At a high level glance, this looks great. If a person were to zoom in, they'd be like, what the heck? I'm actually curious now. Nope, I'll just do a follow-up video. I don't want to delay this video that much. So yeah, let's go ahead, go to the video department, test out the front-facing camera. As you can see, it goes up to 8K. Does it do 60? Nope, just 30. This is the front-facing camera on the OnePlus 13, and I think I'm actually not going to make any judgment from what the previous devices are. I'm just going to look at this device standalone. You guys let me know how the camera looks and how it sounds. So far, I would say this looks pretty good. The issue I usually have on Android devices is that the white judders a little bit whenever you're moving around, especially in the natural sunlight. But overall, I would say that from the front-facing camera, this is kind of also on par with other flagship phones. Wouldn't say it's as good as the Pixel. I'd say the Pixel is definitely in its own class. This, though, is very, for the price you're getting, I would say you're not settling at all. Let's test out the back camera. All right, so now I'm testing out the back camera on the OnePlus 13. You guys let me know if it sounds any different and if it looks any different. Usually the back camera has substantially better cameras, so in theory, this should look better than the front-facing camera. I have had instances on other smartphones where the front-facing camera actually looked better, but you guys let me know how it looks and sounds. Once again, this is a first impression, so once I go outside, do more testing, it might be a better representation of what you might see, but from a glance, you guys let me know which one looks better and sounds better. So kind of wrapping things up, and I know some people are going to be typing in the comments like, oh, you didn't talk about the CPU, you didn't talk about the battery and stuff like that. I really don't care about that stuff, especially when it comes to first impressions. I just want to use the device, and does it feel snappy? Does everything look good? Does the sound good? Does the cameras look good? I know, especially when it comes to OnePlus, and I don't want to knock them, I feel like they are the kings of having like the most of something, but it really doesn't mean anything when it comes to real-world performance. For example, you know, I feel like they always tout having like the brightest nit count or always having the biggest battery, which this one in particular has 6,000. Once again, I'm not knocking them, but it doesn't really mean that much when there's other smartphones that don't have that much milliamp hours and last just as long. Almost seems like it's a compensation for having bad efficiency with your phone, but regardless, 6,000 milliamp hour battery. We have the Snapdragon Elite. So I would say in terms of performance, it's better than what was in the previous one, the Snapdragon Gen 3. GPU performance, specifically when it comes to AI, is also going to be better if you're doing a lot more local stuff. But the last thing that I kind of want to leave off on is when I was watching the event, there was a big focus on AI, just like all these other smartphone companies, and I would say the tech industry in general. And personally, I don't care too much about AI, and I feel like smartphones, if you are in the gaming industry, AI seems like ray tracing, where I feel like it's just going to get shoved to us constantly about how important it is, how we need to start utilizing it. And while I think it is cool, it really doesn't make the phone amazing outside of the base things of what you actually use your phone for. So I think this is going to be another year of AI being shoved in our faces and being marketed towards us. I would say if you find it useful, that's great. But for me and probably a vast majority of people, I'm just going to use my phone like I normally would. If I need to use AI, I'm probably going to use ChatGPT, which I don't really need GPU performance for on my phone. I just need a good internet connection and a modem, okay? The other thing that I actually need to check to see is if this is a dual SIM, because a dual SIM here in America is a big deal. I want to say this does have dual SIM. Usually Nothing phones and OnePlus devices always have dual SIM, even on the global variants. So as you can see here, we have SIM 1 and then SIM 2. So if you are in the US and you want a physical dual SIM phone and you travel a lot, this might be the phone to get. I know a lot of people are moving over to eSIM. Personally, when I travel, get off the airport, get a temporary SIM, boom, 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 I'm good. Anyway, this is a bit of a longer first impressions. It's the first of the year, and you know, it is OnePlus, and OnePlus devices do get a lot of talks. So going to do in daily life, so get subscribed if you want to see that. Good to be back on the channel as well, and there are going to be sponsors for the year, trust me. Anyway, guys, appreciate every single sub, like, and comment. Has a nice balance to it as well. And as always, guys, much love. I don't know why Google Chrome opened, and I'm not going to care about that, but yeah. Anyway, I'm out.